Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Thursdays with Thomas on IDAGIO.com, the place where classic music happens. As you all know, Thursday is one of my really favorite days because I get to visit with people that I haven't seen for a long time, colleagues that I know very well, and very often people I've never met before. So it's been quite a smorgasbord, if that's the right word. And we're actually now approaching a year of this project. We started literally a year, and I have a little bit mixed feelings about announcing that because it means that we're still in this damn pandemic and we've still got COVID stress. No one would have thought that a year ago. We started Idagio Live as a way to bring public with musicians, artists, with people who want to follow their work, and also simply make and help the classic music world be a more lively interchange of human beings with human beings, if you will, rather than some kind of rarefied activity that happens somewhere else in a concert hall you have to pay tickets for. The most exciting development in Idagio over the last year, as a streaming platform and as Idagio Live, of course, is the Global Concert Hall. And this, which started in June, is an amazing project that has just gone head over heels, enormously popular, because it makes literally in real time the concert available for you on your computer, on your handy, on your mobile phone, on your iPad, whatever you want. It's a way to also participate in the project by a very modest and nominal fee. And it is not a catalog. It's not we're not building a catalog. We're not a broadcaster, as it were. It is a live event. It is like going to the event in a hall, and 2 weeks later you think about it. Some pieces stay a little bit longer and some don't stay so long. But tonight we are actually going to speak with an artist who at the end of this month is going to have a global concert hall with a really beautiful program. The artist also happens to be one of my really very close colleagues and friends in this business, and it is a enormous pleasure, René, to see you. We haven't seen each other very much. How are you? It's great to see you. You look great. I know you wanted to do this outside in your fantastic landscape of Dresden, but waveland and lighting doesn't work, so we have a nice kitchen.
Yes. Hello, Thomas. Thanks for having me there, and hello, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my kitchen, so it's it's a little improvisation. If everybody could see how I sit here and how my laptop is in front of me, instead of a little stand where are papers inside. So it's an improvisation. Like the last year, everything was an improvisation. And I'm happy to be a part of it. I am happy to be here. I'm happy to be introduced by you, Thomas. We haven't seen each other for it seems like ages, but of course we still follow each other and other colleagues and other events. They are literally actually not happen, but sometimes we have the streaming platforms, we have living room concerts, we have this little thing. But after a year, all of us, we are a little bit, I'm speaking about myself, a little bit tired of not being able to go on a concert platform in real life, to make our audiences happy, to make our followers happy, to make music lovers happy, concert, opera, theater, whatever, ballet, even movie theaters. So after a year, we still alive, all of us, more or less. But the only way we can show what we are able to do is to go via the internet. So that's the only way we can do right now.
Yeah, it is amazing, the internet consciousness, because the internet existed before and online concerts existed before, but the internet consciousness just, of course, boom. You want to hear an incredible statistic about education? From beginning of the middle of March 2020, literally a year ago, in 121 countries, 1.6 Billionen, Milliarden Studenten were immediately in an internet online educational environment. Can you imagine such a thing? You know, we artists, of course we miss the public exchange. What I miss is living, breathing bodies with me celebrating Schubert or Mahler or Verdi or whatever. It's not so much about us needing to get on stage. It's this interchange. It's this exchange of energy. But that's why I love the IDAGIO platform, because it's not a producer. It simply makes it possible.
Of course. It's of course, but in the end of the day, it's two-dimensional.
Yes, I agree.
And we cannot smell, we cannot hear, we cannot see our audiences. But anyway, it's the way it is like right now. So we just can hope once, maybe hopefully this year, we will be able to get back on stage, and not just for us, for them, for our audiences. That's the most
do you know Hartmut Höll, the wonderful pianist and rector in Karlsruhe? He wrote a very wonderful essay or Aufsatz that might have been printed somewhere. And he said in it, in German, ich frage mich, wann die Leute das Lebensbedingte oder Nötigste, auch die Künste daran beteiligen oder schätzen. In English, I wonder how long it will take before the values that we place in the reopening of society, that the arts are as important as food. And I think that this is a very legitimate question. I mean, have you been following the various, I don't want to make this a political show at all, but have you been following the various movements, and some of it very critical, but a lot of it also just meaning how can we do this better in Central Europe about the support of the arts, the foundations, and specifically the support of the artists in this horrible pandemic?
There are a few movements. Some of our colleagues, they opened some petitions and petitions, whatever. Petitions, and some they want to go to court. They want to sue opera houses or even governments. So the point is, of course, we all suffering, and I, for myself, I have no idea what to do. Just to sue somebody or to make somebody else responsible for the way we have to live right now. I think that could be a possibility, but it's not the way I would go. Of course, we are all voller Wut. We are sad. We are what's this word? Mad. We are
angry.
We are angry. We are mad.
Frustrated.
We are helpless. But we are still hoping that we can perform once again in life. But what never dies is the music. So we can shout, we can fight, we can make people responsible for all these things. Some they are, some they are not. Let's not talk about political issues, but I think what never dies, it's the beauty of music. Doesn't matter we play it in a chamber version, or we find other ways, or we sing with a piano, whatever. The music never dies, which is a great song from your country, actually.
Yes, it is actually. But René, let me ask you, getting to, we're meeting today, I wanted to speak with you and see you anyway, but in fact, at the end of the month, on March 27, ladies and gentlemen, there is an IDAGIO Global Concert Hall with René Pape, and if I understand, you're singing the Dvořák biblical songs. I mean, you can tell us about it. I mean, is this the kind of project that maybe you wouldn't have been involved in, except for the circumstances now? I don't mean to say that you're creating something, but there's been a lot of projects. I mean, creating because you're bored or something. But there have been a lot of projects that have been coming up that I did and I'm planning to do that I maybe wouldn't have had the time or the bandwidth to do in our normal Betrieb, as it were. Or is this a project that's been near and dear to your heart for some time? It's the Dvořák biblical songs.
as you're saying, yeah, we have a lot of time. I have a lot of time. I'm not doing master classes, and I'm not so busy like you are, which is fantastic and helps a lot of students and young artists. But this project, actually, I sang this Dvořák biblical songs for many times, always with piano, and I wanted to do actually the version with organ, which is also written for organ. And yeah, beautiful, but you cannot, with the organ is one of the most beautiful instruments in the world, but you cannot really, for my opinion, you cannot really create the songs with the organ so well, because you have limited, you have a lot of options with the organ, but the sound doesn't, I don't like it so much. Which the point was, it was written mostly for orchestra, for piano first, and then Dvořák by himself, he made the first 5 songs for a small orchestra, and later on, Czech conductor, he made an orchestra version for the second 5 songs.
Correct.
And then you have all the songs with piano, of course, but then you have like a kind of chamber orchestra version, which is beautiful. In that case, it was not allowed to have more musicians than 5 or 6 on a very small church platform. So we had to think about this 1.50 meter in between the musicians. So we couldn't put a bigger orchestra in this little church. But anyhow, there's a version of a Danish composer who arranged these pieces for the pieces number 6 till number 10, the second 5, for 5-string instruments and an oboe. And this is a very interesting sound. And so we play that version, and the first 5 songs we play in an original way with piano. And
wonderful.
It's really, it fixed this very small church and the landscape I live. It's my neighborhood here, and especially in these days, all these prayers and all these wishes we have to God and we have to everybody who could help us brings a lot of things together, you know. So for me, I think these Czechs, and we are very close to the Czech border. So Dvořák was literally living in my neighborhood, and it's like an hour to Praha. So
fantastic.
And so we decide, or I decide to do these songs because I love them and they are beautiful, and I wanted to. I don't have any recordings of these songs, so which is a good opportunity to have these recordings, and with a kind of little video together. So it's fantastic. So it's great, and thank God, IDAGIO, this platform, it's exists, and they give us the chance to show what we can do.
Where did you film it?
Where?
Yeah.
In a little church called Maria am Wasser, Marie on the water.
Yeah.
And that's a little church here in my neighborhood. I live in Dresden, Pilnitz-Hostowitz, which was actually also a little village where Karl Maria von Weber lived. 5 kilometers away, it's like 3 miles away from here. Wagner was writing his Lohengrin. Yeah. So it's a very romantic area where I live. So Caspar David Friedrich was in this area painting his beautiful paintings. So this area is full of romanticism, and therefore also Dvořák suits this area very well.
Oh yeah. And the filming, Catherine wrote me some things. Catherine, our mutual web goddess, my master of the universe. Yeah, exactly. But she said that your son is involved, and you've done some drone filming as well, and I mean it's quite an interesting project.
Yeah, my son is involved, but not as the director of photography, like in America they say for camera.
Yeah.
No, we hired a professional, very young professional guy who filmed it in the church, and he had this kind of drone. So you have to learn that for a year or 2 years how to fly.
Yeah, it's very,
So, and he did a very good job. So fantastic pictures around the area, around the church, in the church. And another friend of mine, he is a professional sound engineer. So he did all the sound things. We had a friend who brought some lights, and the musicians and me, and that's it. And Leopold is my younger son. He was kind of producer of all these things, so he put everything together. So
fantastic.
And he's now doing the editing. So
and did I understand that this will be a recording that one can listen to on IDAGIO outside of the Global Concert Hall? I
think so. I hope. Let's see how the reactions will be after next week. Maybe
are you kidding? You're René Pape. What do you think the reactions are going to be? People are going to be nuts. I'm going to be the first one in line. Are you kidding me? I love these songs. I've sung them as well.
Yes, but you know what? I mean, it's Czech language, so it's not a language we are trained to. So
it's so beautiful.
Yeah, of course. I try to be as real with the language as possible. But sometimes you do mistakes, and some Czech colleagues, they might say, okay, this consonant is not really good, and the other Czech colleague will say, especially that consonant was really good. So but you're always in between. But in the end, I mean, this was not. I mean, we had a very fantastic camera and microphones. But if you want to do it for a CD project, or for example, you need a studio and you need another technical skills. So
well, let's see. I very much look forward. And you're going to recite the text?
I will. Yes, I will sing it in Czech, and in between I will recite the German translation, which is written in the score. Which is not really, they're all psalms, different psalms, but they are translated from Czech language. And the Czech language in that piece comes from the 16th century.
Right.
So, and that means also the translation in German and in English is a kind of tricky, but it's okay. Everybody will understand, and everybody will be fine. So I read these texts in between the 10 songs. I read the translation before, and then the song comes after.
But I remember looking at the German and the English translation. And yes, they are translations that are offered to sing if you don't want to sing which I'm like you with the biblical songs of Dvořák. I've been very passionate. It really has to be in Czech. You can hear that the music and the language are one. But it's a very beautiful translation, and people understand, especially the Waters of Babylon. It's one of my favorite, number 7. Oh my God, what a beautiful piece.
Have you done it in all languages?
I've only ever sung it in Czech, but I've done all 10 in various. I've also mixed and matched every once in a while. But exactly what you're doing is fantastic. For instance, the so-called Zigeuner songs, Opus 55 of Dvořák. Those I also sang first in Czech, but I've become, and then I had a Czech composer make a chamber orchestration for me because Dvořák did not. And we became, both of us, passionately convinced that these are German songs. And in fact, he wrote them in German, dedicated them to Brahms. A German tenor sang the first edition. Dvořák was under tremendous pressure back home at that time that he was becoming too Viennese and too Germanized, and he was also a very good friend of Hajduk, the poet. And so he made his own German translation, or his own Czech translation, and then somebody else went and got Hajduk's. I mean, it's a mess. But I've become quite convinced that the Zigeuner songs really are German songs in the way that Brahms wrote folk songs and so forth. But the biblical songs, I think, are just so they're so from the heart, they're so specific, they're so Dvořák that I couldn't imagine them being sung very well in another
Also,
language.
an interesting point is that he wrote it in New York in these days. He was like from 92 to 96 in New York,
right.
and he wrote them in 94. And many of Dvořák's music composed in that time has moments of American folk music, Indian music from the south of America in that time. But the biblical songs, they have none of them. They have just this kind of bohemian Czech influence, and for example, for his Ninth Symphony, he used parts of Swing Low, Sweet Chariot.
Yes, exactly. And Going Home, and the folk songs.
Right. No, in the symphony, in the Ninth Symphony. So it's not my knowledge. I just wrote it. So, but it's interesting that the biblical songs, they don't have any American, Indian, whatever influence. So,
but I think the biblical songs, Dvořák was very devout. He was very devout. He went through great depressions in New York, missing home. And if I remember correctly, his father either was very sick or passed away.
He passed away 2 weeks after he finished the composition.
Exactly. So the songs are very much also for his family, for his father, and a devotion. And it's a very...
two friends like Tchaikovsky, he died half a year before. Gounod died in the same period, and there was a third one who was a really close friend, and all these happened the time before he started to composing the biblical songs. So I think there's a big influence in that as well.
I agree.
And the sadness of his life in New York. So he had a very high level part at this conservatory as a director and professor for composition, but they couldn't pay him anymore, so he got out of money. So and there was a big depression for him in many directions.
Yeah,
could be close to how we live right now.
Yeah, apropos, let's go back to, I usually have guests talk a little bit about their history. I mean, I know you so well, but give us a, I mean, you're born and raised in Dresden, and your family life is somewhat complicated, but I get the feeling that there was always a great deal of music in your life as a kid. Did you always want to sing? Did you play another instrument? When you went to school, what did you want to be when you got to be when you grew up? A fireman?
Well, I was born and already screaming. So that means yes, this guy wanted to become a singer. No, I mean, I started my musical education in the age of 7, and so I started to learn piano and some musical technical things and some little singing, and then became a member of the famous boys choir Dresdner Kreuzchor, which is close to the Leipziger Thomaner Chor or Wiener Sängerknaben, in that kind. So I had chorus a lot of time, a lot of my youth time in this chorus, and then I started. Immediately after that, I started my singing studies. So at the conservatory here in Dresden, Hochschule für Musik.
Hochschule. My voice teacher, Horst Günther, one of them, or the last one, main one, was a Thomaner Chor boy. It was born and raised in Leipzig.
Yeah.
So I know these traditions
this
well.
This is a big tradition of speaking. Yeah, and I mean, very famous singers like Theo Adam, Peter Schreier, Olaf Bär, me a little bit, So there are also youngers are coming after us. So it's a big tradition from this chorus, is also from the Viennese, from the Wiener Sängerknaben. There are a lot of Austrian singers are coming from that chorus. So which it means it's a big tradition to grow up in this kind of choirs, of courses, and then become a musician, conductor or singer or musician. And I like this education, you know. My education was actually mostly music from the age of 8 until the age of 16.
Were you in the Dresden?
Music, if you want.
Were you in the Dresden opera a lot? I mean, going to the opera as a child, as a kid?
The opera house, Semper Opera, as we know it now, was reopened in '87. So it was actually the last year of my studies. And so before, the opera was played in a so-called Schauspielhaus, which is today the theater for plays. And I went a few times to the opera, but I wasn't so interested in this kind of music. For me, was church music and a little bit of pop and rock, like all of us in that age.
Sure,
you know?
Sure.
And so the interest of opera came much later, while I was a student already. So like in the second or third year of my studies, I was like a opera goer then, but not before.
And your operatic home really has been more the Lindenoper, the Staatsoper in Berlin, oder?
That's my musical home, yes.
Yeah. And have you been performing there the last year? I think they've been doing some productions.
We had one opening night, 13th of December last year, was a Lohengrin, one performance, but not for audience, for streaming. And so, I haven't sang before, and I haven't sang since. Yeah.
Well, you know, the whole Schubert thing we did, the week we did in January, was of course all completely digital. I mean, in the last 12 months, I've been in front of a public 3 times. You know, we've done some digital things.
Could you count how many listeners did you had on the internet?
1, 2, 3,
5 millions, 5 millions, 2 millions.
Well, online, I don't know. The online thing has been kind of incredible, and also these interviews have become very popular. And I really enjoy talking about music and talking with colleagues, and so I think we are creating a wonderful or galvanizing a wonderful community. But the various online projects, when I did something from the recital from Zurich or the concert from Bayern, you know, they pulled some very good numbers, you know, more than would come in the theater. So that was also. But don't you think we're going to have, moving forward, a mixture now of digital and what we call analog and synchronous? You know, I think so. That's what I hope so. I believe in that, actually.
I mean, a mixture would be good. If that means if you can come back to the real theater.
Yeah, exactly.
But right now, I don't see a light in the end of the tunnel. So
really,
no. So, but I hope people will come back to the theaters. All these restrictions, right? In this time now, nobody can come to the opera house, or like 100 people instead of 1,000. There are so many scientific things have been done in Munich, in Darmstadt, in different concert houses, different theaters, opera houses, and all the scientists they said there is no way that people can anstecken.
Can infect other people.
Infect each other
by singing.
Yeah, by singing, and if the audience have like a sitting system, like a chess board, they will not infect each other. So, but nobody will listen to them. So I don't know when we can open the theaters again. I don't know.
it seems that all of the decisions are, as we say in English, being made for the lowest common denominator, and
no risk.
No risk, and also politically, for whatever ridiculous reason, museums and concert halls, to open them before you would open some other gregarious environments seems to be pandering to what they think is elitist, which I can't even say the word. It makes me crazy. The word elitist and classical music doesn't belong together. It's
sometimes I think there's this beautiful, this funny phrase, no risk, no fun. So, and nobody is following that, you know?
Yeah.
So everybody's it's not angry, ängstlich, scared. To make mistakes, and scared to do this, and scared to open there or close there. So the governments, doesn't matter where, Germany, Austria, France, Italy, Spain, they're moving back and forward because they don't really know what to do. So all of us, not just artists, all the people in these countries are sitting in between. They want to do things, they want to follow rules, but also they want to have perspective. You know, they want to see that the government gives some future ideas, but nothing happens. So, and this is really frustrating for all of us, not just artists, for all of us.
No, I agree. Again, a very good point, René. Thank you for saying that. No, I mean, look, I'm sitting here with my co-host Pinu. That's my little Maltese. Yes, he's a lazy co-host, but we're here in Florence. I'm heading to my piano dress rehearsal of Così fan tutte. And there's no possible way we're going to have a public. I understand. Exactly.
Lucky you.
It's such a beautiful piece. It's a lot of memories. It's my first Don Alfonso on stage. I sang 130 Guglielmos back in the day. But it's been great fun. It's been great fun. I want to ask you something. Going back to what you said at the beginning, one of the roles you've probably done more than anybody contemporary and are very famous for is König Mark, wouldn't you say?
One of these,
yeah. I mean, in the Wagner. But I want to ask you something. You know, and this is me as a colleague, as a what shall I say? You know, a beheimatete Europäer, but an American. I mean, when you learned König Mark and when you sing König Mark, when you were debuted in some of your Lohengrin, and you know that literally down the street, Richard Wagner wrote this and thought this. Do you carry that inside? Does that mean something to you?
In the time I was singing Mark the first time, I didn't live here. So I lived in Berlin and far away. So.
Yeah, but you came from here.
It doesn't matter. Wagner is Saxonia, Wagner is Leipzig, and Wagner is Dresden. So it doesn't matter where you are and when you start singing one of these roles, it's always a part of your home, of your country. Like Mozart or Beethoven is they are big figures for Austrian musicians, you know, or Mahler.
Right.
So, and for us, it doesn't matter where the composer composed or lived. It's in our heart. Of course, they are Germans or Austrians or Verdi or Italian, Gounod, Mussorgsky, you name it. So when you are able to make music, I don't care where it was written, in my neighborhood or 500 miles away. So the music speaks for itself, you know. For me, it always was interesting as a foreigner singing Verdi in Italy, singing Gounod in France, singing Mussorgsky in Russia. That was more important for me in my career than knowing where they were.
I agree. I understand that.
Yeah.
So what is I mean, when things start opening up again, I mean, all of our calendars have either been canceled or or pushed and postponed and rescheduled. I mean, I said the other day, I get up and I work on the plan, and then I reorganize the plan, and then we replan something. I mean, it's just crazy. But what are the projects other than this Dvořák project? But what other, when the opera opens up again, what is the repertoire you'll be coming back? Are we going to see more Philip Secco, more Don Carlos? Are you going to go back to the Nerone? Is there something new coming up? I think I heard a rumor about another Wagner piece, but I don't want to say anything.
I don't.
Hans Sachs?
I didn't hear any rumors. No, I'm going, of course I'm going back to my repertoire, and of course I want, if things going back to normal to be a normal life, I might study new walls, but I want to do more, maybe more new songs. I want to maybe do some completely different things, like completely different music or movies. I don't know yet. Many possibilities are open. So my first, of course, I will go back to Magic Flute Sarastro, and I go back to Don Carlo. My next hopefully big thing will be Don Carlo here in Dresden, a new production in June, July. And the next big thing will be Boris in New York, if the Met will open in September. Yeah. We don't know. And
you've done Boris quite often?
Yes. And I have done it also in New York. I did it the first time in Berlin, the State Opera in Berlin. Then I did another production here in Dresden. Then I did one in New York. And I have sang a few in Kazan, where Shalyapin was their Boris. So they invited me to sing Boris in Kazan, and I was so nervous about that. I sang Boris in St. Petersburg. So which was fantastic. But I'm hoping that I can go back to New York in September and being on the stage at the Met again. But we don't know what happened over there.
No, I don't think anybody.
No.
I mean, America has been, the arts and humanities have been decimated.
I have 7% left of my battery, and my
that's better than
upstairs.
that's better than I have to go to rehearsal, so I mean this could go on. I want to come to Dresden. I'll wear a mask and drink a beer and sit on your terrace and get caught up.
Together again,
yes, please, René. I mean, really,
we had done a few things, especially Don Carlo, but
also Don Giovanni. Don't forget Don Giovanni.
Don Giovanni, we did. Have we done Tristan together?
No,
you never done.
I didn't. I wouldn't mind, but I haven't.
In Kubernetes, you didn't do.
No. But René, we did. You know, your Grammy is my Grammy. I've only gotten that's our Tannhäuser recording with Barenboim.
Right. That's true.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, maybe we could do a concert. We could do a concert of all the things we've sung together. That could be fun, and then you can wander off, and I can wander off. We'll invent something.
We have to. We have to find different ways.
We will.
No, the last few years, everybody was following the schedule, the calendar, whatever. We had no time to think. The last year, I want to say in the end, all of us, we had so many time to think about what we have done the last 20, 30, 40 years. So, but what is left is we are missing what we can do best.
True. That is a wonderful, that's a wonderful final sentence. To be continued. It's great to see you. Be well, be safe. I look forward to the Dvořák. Everyone, Dvořák, let me just get March 27 at 8 o'clock Central European Time in the IDAGIO Global Concert Hall. Go to idagio.com. You'll find your path there. Anyway, take care, my dear friend. Wonderful. And Pinu, yeah, say goodbye, Pinu. Say goodbye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Pinu. Toi, break a leg, Inca Lupo for Don Alfonso.
Yeah, bravo. Exactly. Great.
Ciao.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. See you next week. Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Bye, man. Ciao.